today.
Okay, so we've got Geetika has painted her plane and reinforced it with tape. She missed in here and in here on this side, but she did get this here. Notice now, if I pull on this, this won't rip, whereas if I were to pull right here, this would rip right in half. So that's because she hasn't taped it. So she's going to tape that in a little bit. It's not critical that she do it now, but you'll notice that the plane, without the tape, that's my charger going off, without the tape has a lot of flex to it, right? Whereas we have Sagun's plane. Hey Sagun, can I see your plane for a second?
Yeah,
Do a little demo.
Yeah, I just need to do that.
Oh, we'll do that. We'll do that. So Sagun has already taped and reinforced with carbon. When we're all done here, this is what it's going to look like. Similar, at least. Notice the carbon reinforcement, and there's tape going down each side. Now, if I try to do this with Sagun's plane, I barely get any wiggle at all, and I'm putting a lot more force on this than I was putting on that one. Also, Sagun's plane, I can barely twist it. It's very, very stiff. Whereas Geetika's plane, who has not yet reinforced it with the carbon, you can see how flexible that is, right? Oh wow, she did a great job with her controlled surfaces. Look at that. Look how they wiggle. This is what you want your control surfaces to do. If you do a really good job with them, they will be extremely flexible like that. Her elevator is the only that's even just a little bit stiff, but otherwise, fantastic job. Look at that. Okay, so now we're going to put in the carbon. First thing we do when we put in the carbon, we want to sharpen it. So we're going to get some cutters. Any kind of cutters will do for these. Sharper is better. You don't want to splinter your carbon. And we're just going to come in at a pretty steep angle here and cut. And now you look, it's pointy, right? I could poke Geetika and she'd probably be really upset at me. So now we want to reinforce this, right? So we're going to pick. It doesn't. This is not. This is not a precision task here. You just want to stiffen it up, and you want to do it in such a way that it keeps its. If you notice, her plane is it's very square, right? It's very straight. When you put these in, you don't want to screw that up. If you did a bad job gluing your plane, then you'll want to brace it square so that when you're done with your carbon, your plane is square, even though you screwed up your glue really bad. So we're going to come in here. I'm just going to sight where I want to go through. Right? I want this to go from here to about the middle over here. So I'm going to sight it through, get pretty close, and poke it in. And then I'm going to poke it out all the way through the other end, right? And it doesn't matter if it sticks out a little bit. That's going to be just fine. And I'm going to clip it here, right? And if I clip it sharp, then I don't have to clip my next one sharp because I'm already set for it, right? Now this is the 1 millimeter, this is 1.5 millimeter carbon that we got. We bought 3 sizes of carbon. We had our 3 millimeter for the wing. We have our 2 millimeter, which is going to be for our push rods, and we'll go over that later. And we have our 1.5 millimeter for the carbon reinforcing. So now that we've got that in, we're going to find our glue. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to push this back through here. And I'm going to just poke it in, so I've got glue all over it. I'm going to push it back through here. I'm going to also get some glue on this here, so that when I push it in, it's going to bring the glue with it, right? Okay. And push it back through. Let it bring the glue with it. Okay. And now I got a bunch of glue here. I'm going to stuff that in real good. Just push it in and it'll force its way down. This side here also. And then I'm going to come to the other side where I didn't get any glue. And again, I'll put a bead on it. Put a bead on it. And we're just going to work that glue in, right? You can spin it, whatever you got to do to get that glue in there. And then drive it in with your finger. We had a guy that didn't want to get any glue on his fingers. He was very, very particular about it, and his carbon didn't turn out so hot. So really, your finger makes the best squeegee here. It's going to do a real good job, so just deal with it. Get yourself some acetone if you really, really don't want to have glue on your fingers afterwards when it comes right off. Of course, it'll take the oil out of your skin, but, you know, you won't have glue on your fingers. So, that's that. That's for one piece of carbon, and we're going to do this all the way down. What's important here is when I put my second piece in, I can put this in anywhere, but I want it to end up exactly where that first piece started. So, two things. One, I'm going to get it pretty close to the tip here, because if I put it down here, then I'm not getting nearly as much of a moment of inertia from my carbon. The other thing is when it comes through, I want it to come and actually crisscross that other carbon here, so it goes right next to it. And the reason that we do that is if we put them too far away, if they're not crisscrossed, then you've got this whole huge thing here that's not supporting anything. Whereas if they're right next to each other, there's nowhere for it to go. So we're going to do that. We're going to go all the way down. The next one we might go here to here and then back. And then when we end up, we want to end up right here on the wing spar. So there's going to be one from wherever we end up here to the wing, and then our landing gear will go from here through to here, and we'll resume with that when we get there. For now, I think we forgot to include how to do our motor mount in the last video. So while we're here, let's talk about motor mounts. This is just 1/4 inch plywood. I've used Luan before. I think this is birch, just anything lightweight. You can use 1/8 inch. It's a little tiny bit lighter, but you know, the 1/4 inch is pretty stiff, pretty durable. I like the 1/4 inch. So now we've used, up to this point, we've used the Stick and Seal on just about everything. And the Stick and Seal is fantastic glue, and you could, in theory, use it for this piece as well. But for the motor mount, I don't think the Stick and Seal binds as well to wood as Gorilla Glue does. So this is my Gorilla Glue, and I've had it in front of the heater because my Gorilla Glue is really old and it doesn't flow as well. So a little bit of heat and it comes out really smooth. Okay, so I'm gonna get this on. Ooh, that's a little too much. You know, a little foam bead down your playing Gitica. I'm sorry. So we just want to get a little bead of foam, or a little bead of I'm sorry,
glue.
Gorilla. Okay, this is actually Elmer's. It's a polyurethane foaming glue. Now it's activated with water, and I want it to dry fast, and I forgot to get water, so I'm just going to use my tongue here, if that's okay with Gitica, and get this just a little bit wet. Wow, I got that a little too warm. That will, you just need it damp, and that will activate the glue so that it dries a lot faster and makes a little bit better bond. So we're gonna square that up here, and I need the roll of tape, which is over here. So we're gonna get a piece of tape off here. About that long. Sure. Okay, so we're going to take our tape, we're going to center it on this thing, we're going to try and hold it straight, just look straight down at it, try and get it centered as best we can. I'm pulling maybe with 10 pounds of force. I'm pulling this around here, and that's going to hold it on. And then I'm going to repeat. Oh, thank you, Sagoon. Got an assistant. I feel important now. Okay, so. Okay, we're going to go again. I don't know, maybe. And my muscles aren't finely calibrated. This may be 15 or 20 pounds of force. I don't know. But it feels like maybe 10. That's going to hold it on there. It's barely compressing the foam, and then we're just going to fold these over just like we did when we reinforced the rest of it. And when we're done with this, we will have a nice rigidly mounted motor mount, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we also want to take, and I dribbled a little bit of Gorilla on this, but we also want to take here and right on the corners, right here, we're just going to take on all 4 of these and just reinforce that around there like that, see? Okay. So, the rest is just rinse and repeat with the carbon all the way down. We'll show you how to do the landing gear when we get there. And then after that, I think we just have the servos and the motor mount. I mean, this plane is almost done.